Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Nora here, and today I'm gonna talk about tips on how to learn Swedish fast. After my first video, I've got so many questions about how I learned Swedish and if I could go more into details about it, like about which kind of things I used for it. So here I am. And today I'm gonna tell you my tips. In this video, I'm just gonna speak English. For today, I'm skipping Swedish. But if you guys haven't seen my first video, in that one, I actually speak Swedish. So if you are interested how my Swedish is after 4 months in Sweden, then go check it out. I'm gonna put it in the links in the description. So let's get started. So I think it's good to start with books. I've only used one book, The Restart. I think it's really good. It basically has like everything in it that you will need. So it will explain you the grammar, it will give you some examples, and it contains lots of exercises. So you can just do a few ones, and those grammar rules that you learn from the book, they will just stick to your mind and you will remember them when you want to use the language. There are also loads of apps that you can use for learning Swedish or improving your vocabulary in it. So I think like the most common used one is Duolingo. It works pretty well. I've tried it myself as well. Well, the thing is that like for me, something that doesn't really explain the grammar, or at least like it doesn't focus on that, but more like just on random phrases and words that doesn't work perfectly, but it's good for some exercises. It's good for at least practicing your knowledge, and practicing is really important in language learning. So it's really good if you use Duolingo or Babbel or any kind of apps just for learning more words and just for actually practicing. So there is another app, italki, that is pretty good. That is totally different from Duolingo or Babbel or most of these kind of apps. So italki works in a way that you just choose yourself a tutor, and basically you will just learn with one tutor via Skype, and in that way it's like a one-on-one lesson, and that tutor can explain you everything. You can ask questions. That is, I think, really important, because in the other apps, obviously you don't have the opportunity for that, and also this tutor can help you with the pronunciation and explaining everything. As I mentioned in my first video, I watched a few Swedish series. I watch them on Netflix, but if you are in Sweden or if you can reach SVT Play, that is also a really good option. It offers lots of Swedish series, and there are options for putting subtitles on it as well. So yeah, I think it's really important to watch something at least for 30 minutes every day. Even if you live in Sweden or if you live outside and learning Swedish from there, it's great because you will pick up lots of phrases and your understanding will get much better through it. So pick a series that is actually interesting for you, and that is about like everyday life. So for example, I can recommend Bonusfamiljen or otherwise Solsidan. If you are not so much like into watching series, for example, podcasts or YouTube videos can also be a good option. Podcasts you can find loads of, even on Spotify if you search for them. It's good to search for something that has the option for subtitles or like for the text of the podcast as well, so it will make you easier to actually understand what they are saying. Yes, about YouTube channels, there are plenty of them that are in Swedish, or that are also plenty of options for types of channels that actually teach Swedish. So they will explain you, for example, different grammar rules or pronunciations of different sounds in Swedish and things like that. So one that I can really recommend you guys is the Swedish linguist. Frederick explains loads of things in those videos and they really work. So like if you have like a question about something, oh, I don't know how to pronounce, for example, the sound, then search for his videos and you will surely get it. What about language courses? So if you're a person who really like to take language courses in groups, groups can be good if you need some extra motivation, so you can guys motivate each other and help each other at the course. I'm not really that type of person. I prefer individual learning, but yeah, for some people it doesn't work at all. So if you are in Sweden, then there is the course SFI. So it's organized by the Swedish government. It's for free and it is a great option for learning Swedish. The only bad side of it, I think, is that there are obviously many people trying to get to the course, so you will be probably put on a waiting list for a few weeks or even months. So I think that's quite much time. The other problem is that like it depends like where you live in Sweden. For example, the course in Stockholm, I've heard that it's pretty crowded, so it can be that you get into a group with like 50 different people. So with like obviously if it's a big group, then you don't have so much opportunity to actually ask questions from the teacher because you need to go on with different topics. Yeah, but otherwise it's pretty good. Well, if it's not so important for you to not to pay for the course, then you can also just pick a course from, for example, Folkuniversitet or Medborgarskolan. They also offer different levels of courses. So you can just pick whichever fits you. You can take a test online first, and when you apply for it, you go to the place and you take a test there as well. So it makes sure that you will get to that level that you need. So what I personally actually used for learning was mostly going to språkcafé. Språkcafé means a language cafe. So there are plenty of them organized in Stockholm or all around Sweden. And funny thing is that I even found one in Budapest last summer. Basically, it's just like it's a group with like one or more native Swedish volunteers who work as like teachers there, and you are sitting in groups and you just talk with each other, and the volunteers help you if you don't know a few words in Swedish, or at some of these språkcafés, they even actually just sit down with you and teach you if you are a full beginner. So I will put these in some links below in the description so you guys will find them, but otherwise you can also always just download the Meetup app and search for them there, and you will surely find loads of them. One important thing about language learning is that there is never enough to just like pick one way to learn a language. So just like pick one course, pick like Duolingo, or just stick to one book. You have to actually combine these things together. If you learn a language, you need to practice every day, and you need to kind of like get yourself surrounded by the language and practice as much as you can. So it's very important that if you pick like, for example, Duolingo, then also pick a book that explains you the grammar. If you just like go to classes like 1 or 2 times a week, you will forget a lot. So you really need to get dedicated to learning that one language and just practice as much as you can. And what I did was like, as soon as I could say something, I tried to speak. So like it could be like as simple as just like going to the supermarket and like ask something, or like just like when you pay at the cashier, you can just like say like thank you in Swedish, and like just say bye and things like that. Or like when you go to a restaurant, you can try to order your meal in Swedish. So these are the things I did, and after a while like I got some Swedish friends, so I tried to practice with them. Like, don't be afraid. So that's very important as well. Don't be afraid to talk. Just talk, okay? So don't think about it, oh my god, my pronunciation is probably bad. Well, if they understand it, it's good enough. And you will get better, but you will only get better if you practice. If you don't practice, then you won't, obviously. So just try, and yeah, like sometimes it can happen that, for example, people start laughing at you. It happened to me as well. That's it. It's usually not like they want to be mean to you. It's not like that they think it's really bad. They just think that they're not used to different accents in Swedish. So yeah, like it can sound funny. Yeah, that's fine. Just don't care. If you have a go, then just go for it. This was all for today. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys find my tips useful. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. We'll see you next week.